In a keyword-focused blog post, rather than you coming to the table with a post idea in mind, you allow the market to tell you what it's looking for, and then you produce exactly that kind of content. These kinds of posts are ideal for outsourcing as well because they don't require the same kind of creativity and vision that a blank page does. We'll talk more about outsourcing specifically in another video in another module, but if you do decide to outsource, these kinds of posts are an excellent place and the kinds of posts that you can have your content writers begin with and start learning the craft of creating really great content for your sites. In a keyword-focused blog post, you'll do a bit of keyword research to find that low-hanging fruit kind of keywords that you can create matter around. And I mean matter that matters, not that SEO copywriting stuff. But you do a little bit of keyword research and you let those keywords that you find be your guide. The keywords that you'll find are the very keywords that your readers or potential readers are typing into their browsers. So when you create posts that are targeted towards those keywords, you're giving the readers what they're looking for, and you're giving the search engines the kind of content that they want to serve up to those readers. So don't be worried about the search numbers being low. We are looking for low-hanging fruit, and that's why it's called that. You can't hit a home run with every post, and by that I mean that not every page on your site can target one of those home run 100+ visits a day kind of keywords. But since you've got to be producing content regularly anyway, wouldn't you rather be producing content that real people are actually looking for and that the search engines actively want to list in their results pages? 10 visits a day to a page that you made a year ago is better than none, right? And when you start creating those kinds of posts regularly, you'll end up with 10 here, 10 there, 10 over there, so on and so forth, which will create your overall traffic compounding and growing over time as you build up a library of sorts of these kinds of posts that real people are searching for and that the search engines want to serve up as well. So let's take a look at some actual keyword research data and see what kinds of keywords we'll use for a keyword-focused blog post in the tomato growing niche. So what I've done here is Open Market Samurai. I asked it to find me keywords related to the main keyword phrase of tomato growing, and here's what I've done with the filters so far. I took the SEO traffic and I put a minimum of 10. I took the phrase to broad and I put a minimum of 50. And I also put in the SEO competition just because I want to see those numbers. I did not put a max in though. So let's take a look at what we've got. Now here's something fairly attractive. I don't actually know what this is. Celebrity tomatoes. 12 visits a day, 82% PBR, that all looks good, and only 6,570 in the competition area. So I don't know if celebrity tomatoes is a euphemism for something else. So I would do a Google search and see, but if there are maybe a variety of tomatoes called celebrity, could be the case, then that would be a really great post for a tomato growing site. Now here's one, Vegetable Seeds UK, 72% PBR, only 3,100 competition. However, it isn't really directly related to tomato growing. I could talk about tomato and vegetable seeds in the UK and where people could get those and that sort of thing and sort of tie it into my niche, but it isn't direct, so I would have to do a little bit of thinking to make that happen. Marmande tomato, 59% PBR, 9,800 SEO competition. This is a good one to go for. Growing tomatoes in Florida with 59% PBR and 10,500 SEO competition. Another good one to go for, and that's a straight up keyword phrase that people are typing in, and you can write about the different climactic differences between different areas, Florida being one of them. Planting tomato seeds at 55% PBR and 8,500 PBR or 8,500 SEO competition. That's a good keyword to go for in this niche. Moving on up, 13,000, that's sugar snap peas and Swiss chard, so those aren't directly related. Tomato growers supply, that would be a really great one to do an affiliate type of post with and talk about the different places where you can get tomato growing supplies and talk about the different suppliers in the niche. Growing tomatillos, I can't remember if those are actually like a variety of tomato or not, so I would have to look that up. Again, here I go picking a niche that I know very little about. But that would be something that I could look up and potentially make a post about. Watering tomatoes, 17,000, 84% PBR, and we're getting in higher traffic here, of course, as we go up. I started from the bottom, the lowest traffic. So that would be a post that I could create. And you notice here, there's also the key phrase watering tomato plants, similar, a little bit higher competition, but not any kind of competition numbers that we need to worry about, that we can't work around, especially as our site grows and becomes more and more of an authority in the niche. So I could tie those kinds of posts together. Growing hibiscus, that's no good because our site isn't actually about hibiscus. We're doing tomato growing. Campari tomatoes, probably another variety, 68% PBR, 30,000 competition. Tomato cultivation, sun gold tomato. Asparagus seeds, that's no good. Totally tomatoes, I don't know what that is. I would look it up and find out. Heirloom vegetable seeds, including tomatoes, could be my post title, and I could tie in tomatoes into this particular keyword phrase. So I think that you get the picture here, but what we're doing is we're getting the supply of keywords that people are actively searching for, that the search engines are actively looking for content around. Fertilizer for tomatoes, that's a good one, 19,000 competition, love it. So anyway, I'm getting distracted by great keyword phrases, and these are all things that if I were to own a tomato growing type of site, I would create content around, really good content around, and give the people what they're looking for, and also give the search engines exactly what they are looking for. And this is kind of an endless resource of ideas for posts that you can create over time for your site. So now we're at Google Insights, and this is at google.com/insights. And what I've done is put in tomato growing, and I've looked for, I've just left these filters at the default, and it shows, of course, that there's a peak every year in, it looks like about May, as everybody wants to start growing their tomatoes. So I would know from this that my site would probably have a traffic spike around that time, and then wouldn't necessarily, it would go down, with the lowest being where in December. But I would expect that in a seasonal niche. But the interesting part is down here at the bottom, where you can see the top searches within the niche and then rising searches. So these are the things that may be growing popularity. Now, tomato growing isn't really one of those things that hits the news a lot, so it isn't going to show me as much in the rising searches area as a key phrase that perhaps was having technological developments or that kind of thing. But you can look at the rising searches and get an idea of key phrases that may not be super duper popular right now, but depending on what's going on in the marketplace, could be growing in popularity. So growing tomato from seed appears to be something that's growing in popularity, more so than growing tomato tips, although that one's growing as well. And we always are interested in looking at and getting involved in growth markets within our main marketplace. So these are other key phrases that you could consider from Google Insights as you are developing these keyword-focused blog posts. Now, we've also got Google Suggests, and I know that you've seen this before, where you start typing in a key phrase and Google gives you ideas as to what you might want to get. So if I just put in tomato growing, Google Suggests gives me tomato growing season, tomato growing tips, tomato growing problems, conditions, and forum. If I put in a C, I get conditions, containers, cycle, cages, and calendar. Let's put in season, secrets, systems, soil, season in Florida. Let's just put in a random letter. I do this sometimes. I'll put in H, so I get help, Houston, habits, hydroponic, and hints. So you can use Google Suggest as well to give you ideas about the kinds of key phrases that people are looking for in your marketplace and the type of topics that you could talk about specifically within your niche. Because if a key phrase made it into Google Suggest, that means that Google knows that people are often looking for that particular thing. So again, our goal here is to give people what they want and to give Google what they want. And Google Suggest is just that, a suggestion as to what that might be. So between these methods, you've got a great set of topics on which you can post. It's going to attract real visitors. It's going to attract the search engines. And this is one of those methods that's never going to let you down if you're stuck for ideas. There are always keywords out there waiting for you to fill the void so that you can always be shipping.